Imagine a little girl and her mom driving down a busy stretch of road when they're rear-ended by a car. Neither one is wearing a seatbelt, and the little girl's head hits the windshield. She's miraculously unharmed, but the large star on the windshield is proof of the accident. Once upon a time, that little girl was me, and that was the day I started wearing a seatbelt. What would you do if you had such a brush with danger like that, or if someone you love was almost seriously injured, or actually was? It's actions like these that can lead to fatality, all because someone forgot or chose not to wear a seatbelt. In my speech, I'm going to discuss the overall risks of driving without a seatbelt, the part it plays in our own community of Idaho, and the risk factors that come with wearing a seatbelt. To begin, it's important to be aware of why wearing a seatbelt is important. According to the Daily Mail, 1 in 5 victims of road traffic accidents died because they weren't wearing a seatbelt. And because of statistics like these, lots of laws have been enforced to try and control the people and convince people to wear seatbelts. But the law enforcement isn't exactly keen, because most people are like, okay, if I'm driving and I'm not wearing a seatbelt, I'm not really going to get pulled over. And even if I am, I'll be ticketed and fined a little bit. What's the big deal? And so people don't really realize the gravity of it all. So the laws need to be enforced more, and yeah. But it's not just drivers, it's all passengers involved. Backseat passengers are only 85% likely to wear a seatbelt. And that's a shocking statistic because it should be 100%. And, yeah. I'm doing great. Okay. Now, you might be saying, how would something like this affect our own little underpopulated Idaho? But the fact of the matter is, it's kind of transportation. The local safety restraints for Bonneville County alone was a mere 65% in 2013, which was a 13.1% decrease from 2012. And that's a big deal because that affects a lot of people. But in 2005, the laws in Idaho were enacted to include people or children ages 7 and under. But some people don't even really buckle up their kids, because as of 2013, 92% of children ages 0 to 3 were placed in safety seats, so like the child thing. And then only 63% of children ages 4 to 6 were placed in a safety seat, so that put them at risk. And if people won't buckle up their kids, I mean, when will it end? The average percent of children restraint has gone down 1.2% over the years. And, well, with all that in mind, there are risks that come with wearing a seatbelt, because they do save lives most of the time, but they can also end them in certain situations. According to an article by Time magazine, John Adams of the University College of London discovered that in 18 countries there was no change or even a net increase of road deaths from wearing a seatbelt. And wearing a seatbelt can prevent you from being flung out of a car in a situation of a collision, but if your car ends up in the ocean, you can't get out. So it's kind of a lose-win. It flip-flops a lot. And most of the risks for actually getting into an accident are circumstantial. Like, a young man is 100 times more likely to get into an accident than a middle-aged woman. And someone with a personality disorder is 10 times more likely to get into an accident. And there's other statistics like that. But it all depends upon the driver and the risks they're willing to take to put themselves into, and whether or not they want to wear a seatbelt. And with the knowledge, you have about wearing seatbelts now. I hope you have a different viewpoint about the one you walked in with, or that you can at least see both sides of the argument. Now, I challenge you to take this information and make an educated decision, not only for your safety, but the safety of those you love most. Thank you for taking the time to listen, and I hope you choose wisely.